Let's just say, in lieu of music, we're just going to welcome everybody to what? Well, to caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. So we'll talk about caches and caches unique to this little corner of the country tonight. And while you're deciphering geo-garble, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
And we can't do that without bringing in our very own spider monkey. Some say he Skypes with the Queen every third Tuesday. And others say he shouldn't be trusted alone on a podcast. That's why he's called the Land Monkey.
That's right. That is why he's called the Land Monkey. And as you might be able to tell, we're not alone in Land Monkey Studios tonight. Oh, there's a bat beside me. All right. Hey, you know what? We want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's Team Squirrel and worldcaching.com. And also get well wishes to worldcaching.com. Hope you heal up fast. And, you know, if you want to know more about supporting the show, we encourage you to go on over on the website and click on that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. In the meantime, a special thanks out to all of our supporters who, aside from the Denali level supporters I've already mentioned, include Subway Mark, Cachamaniac, Store & More, Dune Buddy, Kid Vegas 19, Geo Nav Pros, Wino Seattle, Acrodoc, OBX Geek, Camp Clan, B Pendragon, and Billy Robson.
Yay!
Yay! Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate your support.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned tonight, we're going to talk to someone who lives on the, well, kind of on the edge of our geocaching world. That would be Marina. So welcome to the show, Marina.
Thank you.
However, before we get started, we want to remind you that geocaching.com, as always, has spent many hours updating your profile page, and Caching in the Northwest wants to get our fingers in there and completely mess it up. So we have a glow badge for you if you submit a geocaching log of the week.
That's right. So whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com. You know what? You can always call into 253-693-TFTC or use that handy dandy voicemail tool right there on the website and show us just how you glow.
That's right. And this week we've got a glow from one used goat wrote for GC718RN. It's WAC4 Family Ties. It's not TFTC, it's FTF. That's, you know, same letters, different order, right? FTF with Kev, MacD, and Pinkerton boys early this morning. Kev and I texting ideas and such back and forth over a few days. Way overthought this one at first. Then I knew I was close. I was so close, but kept getting on private property. Saturday, Kev messages, got it. I get home that night and log on and, oh no, 2 correct geo checkers now. I better get back to work. Realized my silly error, and then the geo checker was happy. A message from Kev at 6:35 a.m. this morning that he's heading out with Pinkerton boys, and I'm like, nah, go without me. He mentions they're going to do the Where I Go as well. Okay, pick me up. We're on our way with Pinkerton boys by 7:30 a.m. Great location for a final. Had the place to ourselves. Hard to see Jeff when he yelled, found it, but we followed his voice and geo trail to the nice cache hide. These types always get a fave for me. Thanks for the fun puzzle and cache.
There you go. So yeah, that was a log on actually one of our Land Monkey puzzle caches, and that was from One Used Goat. So I picked that out of our logs because I was not looking at the list Chris maintained. So I randomly picked one myself today. But that means that One Used Goat is going to get a badge sent to her in the email.
Great.
All right. Well, folks, reminder, if there's a milestone cache that you're celebrating, why not call it in a 253-693-TFTC and share it with the Northwest community? You know what? I bet you there's even a possibility people sent some audio in this past week. And because Land Monkey isn't super prepared tonight, he does not have access to that audio, and we're not going to play it. So we will catch up next week. So if you sent something in, we thank you. Oh, looks like Chris wants to say something.
I was told just this afternoon prior to heading out on this trip that people were calling in to leave a milestone of a very unique find number. So is one that I think Limax would be proud of.
Awesome. Well, in the chat, IHAM said use the voicemail tool on the website earlier this evening. And Team Finn left a voicemail for the after show hashtag there, which brings us to the make sure you throw the hashtag FATAS or for the after show in the chat room tonight if you got something you'd like us to discuss after our main topic is done.
Right arm. Well, you know what? This week in NorthWest caching, us land monkeys were busy visiting and caching over on Vancouver Island. And I know a number of our listeners, at least a couple of them for sure, were over on Vancouver Island this past long weekend as well. So that's pretty cool. One of the cool things about Vancouver Island, particularly the area we were in, which is around Campbell River, is relatively easily you can cache your way from the 50th to the 49th parallel, or from the 49th to the 50th parallel, depending which direction you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a lot of fun. It's kind of a cool thing. And if you check out our Twitter feed, you'll see a photo that we posted of the 50th parallel marker in Campbell River, which is kind of neat.
I saw that this week.
Yeah, it's a neat spot to be.
Yeah.
But the weather was crappy.
Yeah, we had some pretty wicked high winds down in Seattle, Tacoma. I don't know how it was up north, but
They canceled some of the ferries.
yeah. Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, so pouring rain, but we had fun. We did find a good number of caches and got really, really wet. But we did have a break in the rain one evening and went out to do a night cache, which is always fun. You know, follow the tacks with your flashlights.
Very cool.
You've done a night cache with us before, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, those are fun.
I've done a few. Yeah, we did one during the day.
So you're saying that was a tacky cache?
What's that?
Saying that was a tacky cache?
Yes, it was. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've started to introduce Marina into the show here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We thought it would be kind of fun to get some thoughts about geocaching from you, but also, any thoughts you have about being on a podcast.
I wish I had a better pair of headphones, but it's fine. I'll just be the odd one out.
Well, we're glad you're here. Earlier, before we went live, I asked her, so how's it going tonight? She goes, well, I'm in a bat onesie, so...
Very good.
Life is good.
Yeah.
I have to say, the very astute would know that actually the voice of Marina has been on the podcast.
I was going to say, be curious to see who in the chat room might recognize which episode she's been on before.
That's right. So
I don't even remember what it was.
I do. I know.
All right. Well, I thought it would be kind of fun if we started off by doing a little bit of, let's say, word association. So we're going to, between Jim and Chris and I, we're going to say a geocaching term. And what we want is we want you to share the first thought that comes to your mind, Marina, whenever you hear any of these terms from us.
So I'm just saying a word, basically?
No, we're going to say a word.
We're going to say the
Yeah,
word.
but I'm saying a word. Am I saying a word in response, or like
No, why don't you just
my thoughts?
Yeah, just share your thoughts
Okay.
on whatever that
So
word
more
is.
than one word.
Yeah. So, like, for example, if I threw out the word nano,
Virus.
what was that?
Just thought of a nanovirus as soon as you said
Virus. Okay.
There you go. All right. So how about if I say FTF?
well, that's first defined.
Hey.
Yeah, that's when you get to brag.
Yeah. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what I see FTF and I'm like, ooh, they got it. They're first. Win. That's
You won and then you're
They
done?
win geocaching. That's how that works, I believe.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, what if I threw out the word bison tube?
Bison tubes. You have a lot of them. I don't know. I just see a lot around the house because of you.
So okay.
Just. I honestly, what were they originally made for? I don't know that they have any other.
To store buffalo.
Well, I
It's
think
like-
they're part of a bison. It's, I'm not sure which part of the bison.
The tube of the
The tube
bison.
is. It's like which part of the chicken is the nugget, but never mind.
None of it. No.
No, that's a city.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a territory.
I get check your facts.
Check your facts.
Google search before you speak.
All right. Got another one for you. You ready?
Yes.
All right. This one, GIF.
I still don't really know what that stands for. I'm gonna assume it ends with film festival. Because TIFF. That's
Ding, ding, ding. She wins.
So I'm assuming this is Giant International Film Festival. It's strictly for giants
Okay.
That could be.
over 7 feet tall to submit a video. They do come to your house to check how tall you are. I believe that's.
I don't know if that's accurate, but I'm intrigued to maybe see that happen now. That would be fun.
They're really big films.
Yeah. It's a really big show.
Really big show.
How about benchmark?
That's when you sit on a bench for too long and you get up and there's just like a little mark where you tread. You leave a benchmark.
Okay, that I suppose is accurate. Maybe not in the geocaching context, but sure, why not?
And it could be. Whoops.
It could be. That's true.
Okay. Next one. I got another one for you. You ready?
Alright, yes, I'm ready.
BYOP.
Bring your own porcelain.
Why would you bring your own porcelain?
In case the cache doesn't have any in it. Duh.
Clearly, it's pizza. Come on.
Pilsner.
Because you're not allowed to leave food items in the cache, so you have to bring your own pizza to the
Oh,
cache.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to eat the pizza you find in the cache.
No, no,
I did that once. That's learned from my mistake.
did not end well.
Hey, in the chat room, Die Monkey says that bison tubes were originally for holding nitroglycerin tablets. There you go.
That's right. I've seen them actually marketed for carrying medicine tablets. She also contributes. The BYOP is bring your own poutine.
Oh, that's a good one.
Are you a fan of the poutines?
I'm a giant fan, one might say.
So
Oh,
you could
so-
actually host a
yeah,
good GIF
I
on
could.
poutines.
I could.
Yeah, you could you could serve poutine at your giant international film festival.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice. I want to attend now. I really do.
That's are you over 7 feet tall? That's sorry.
Well, no, I'm not submitting a film. I just want to attend. Do I have to be over 7 feet tall to attend as well?
There has to be over 7 feet tall. I'm actually crouching. I'm kneeling right now.
Okay. Well, I guess I
Okay.
don't qualify.
Let's do another term. What about CETO?
CETO is I know this one. It's cash in, trash out.
Wow.
That's when you go in and you get all just terrible, terrible people out of a park. Trash them.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, that was fun. You know what? Switching gears a little bit. You're a good sport. That was a lot of fun. Hey, you know what? You have come out geocaching with us before, obviously. You knew a few of the terms. That was pretty good.
Willingly? Did you go
So there's
willingly?
Chris's question.
I actually chauffeured once. That
Oh,
was the
Wow.
time as I drove. It was stressful.
It was.
Yeah, because
For all parties
like
involved."
pull over here, quick, pull over. Where?
Was it an FTF run?
No, it was just needing to pull over somewhere. I didn't like it.
Okay, so for fans of the TV sitcom The Middle this week, the youngest child in the middle just turned 16 and was driving the family on vacation. And the scene was that he took off and then it immediately cut to the next scene where he's no longer driving. And he was writing in his log and he said, okay, so should I put 8 or 9 seconds down for my driving time there? And Dad says, I don't know. My heart stopped at 4. So I don't know if that applies to the Marina chauffeur caching adventure or not, but
Am I a good driver?
Len Mucky says no comment.
Sometimes.
There's moments. I mean, here's the thing. We had her driving on the highway and in some relatively heavy traffic, and it was her first experience with that. So
That's nerve-wracking for experienced drivers. So
it was, but you have to learn, right? And so
absolutely.
We don't have to.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. Some people.
And was this in the vehicle with the clutch and the stick shift?
No, no.
Oh, okay. No, she says emphatically.
Ooh. Would not be good.
There you have it.
That's how.
Okay.
That's, I don't think you would have broken the car.
Snap it right in half.
That'd be bad.
That's yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? So we've talked about the fact that you have come out with us before, which is great. And we always enjoy having you along, Marina. But question for you.
Yes.
Of the numerous geocaches you have found, how many do you figure you've logged?
Actually, I think my profile has like 60.
Wow. That's
But
impressive.
but
That's more
was
than I
when-
thought.
No, but that was when I first made it, and you guys were like on top of me about that, and you were like, "Oh, you have to log it now that you've done it." And I was like, okay." And I
It's
just
exactly what I say when Chris tells me to log it.
Does that sound exactly the same?
Pretty much. A little more masculine, just slightly, but
Yes, yeah.
just slightly. Not a lot, but just slightly.
it's so boring. You guys just sit on your computer for like an hour, and you're like, "Oh, did you log this one?" You're like, "No, I haven't done that one yet." Like, I don't understand how you can do that and not just get bored out of your skull.
It's because you're reliving the experience.
You're not. You're on a computer.
But you're in your mind, you're thinking through, how can I summarize this amazing experience in just a few words that would be
TFTC.
glow worthy? Oh, no. You broader. Oh,
Well, I think when you have a lot of logs to do, that's when we go back to that term she threw out earlier about porcelain. That's where you submit those logs.
bring your
No.
own person. Funny.
Or not.
All right. Hey, I've got another question for you, Marina.
Hello.
Hi. If there was something that would make geocaching more interesting to you, or perhaps, other folks your age.
Folks.
other-
You just aged 40 years.
well, I was trying to avoid using the word kids. Because
How about a ute?
other youths your age in that, 18 to 20 demographic.
Yeah.
If there's something that would make geocaching more interesting, what do you think that would be?
Probably like food.
Like, what do you mean, in the cache?
Like bring your own pizza, right?
Like, well, like if you just had like a butler with you,
Oh,
and they just had platters of different kind of food, and as soon as you find like that, it's incentive to find it.
So the
You find
reward-
it, yeah, you find it, and they're like, "Bon appetit, made you some lobster."
so it's like Pavlovian theory.
Yeah,
So you find a cache, you get a treat.
yeah, it's positive reinforcement.
Okay. So that's what would make geocaching more interesting.
Yeah, and then when you get home, it's the same thing, except a little bit more exquisite because the worst part is logging it.
What if you get home and your daughter makes you a giant cookie that looks like a smiley face?
I did do that once.
You did do that
I
once.
got really bored, and I had a lot of extra dough.
Thank you for not eating the dough.
I ate most of it.
Why were you so bored? Were you logging your caches?
Probably,
All
putting it off, made cookies instead.
right. Hey, there's a term that came up in the chat. So I'm going to jump back to what do you think this term means? Gadget caches.
Caches that you need Inspector Gadget to find. Once he's there, he says, "Go Gadget Cache Finder," and then a little boodoo, it like rings a little bell, and then you find it.
And then you get some lobster.
Yeah, only if you have a butler though.
All right.
I want to go caching with Marina and this butler. That sounds actually very fun.
Francis and I go caching a lot.
Is he the butler?
Francis is my butler.
Okay. Does he also log your finds?
He sometimes I have to get my other butler to really get the incentive for him to do it.
Where do these butlers stay?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. So there'll be a
Well,
little
when we're talking about logs, Dormore mentioned in the chat, she said, I look back at some of my logs and it's like rereading a diary. It's fun to relive some of the adventures that I've had with friends.
There you go. I think that's the point I was trying to make. And Marina's corollary to that was no.
I just take pictures of places I've been.
And then post them on Instagram.
Not always, but sometimes, yeah.
No. And Snapchat?
Well, they're gone after a day on Snapchat.
Okay.
Except for the screen captures.
That's I'm not gonna try and explain Snapchat to you right now. That's a different episode.
Tune in next time when
That's a
Marina
different
discusses Snapchat. No.
Is that the new podcast you and I should do?
It's just me explaining Snapchat for just 50 episodes. Because you just won't get it.
Seems legit.
Yeah, but I could teach you how to make your VCR not blink.
The secret to making your VCR not blink is don't plug it in.
There you go.
Old school stuff.
Not as old as beta.
Okay, now I actually don't know what beta is. It was a joke before, but I don't know what beta is.
There we go.
I'm not old, sorry.
We just found the gap.
It's the higher quality format that should have been VHS, but never mind.
Nice.
What about 8-track tapes? Should we go there?
I know what that is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you
What?
actually know what an 8-track tape is?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I watch old shows.
What old show were you watching that had 8-track tapes?
I don't
Caching in the Northwest.
remember what it
Oh,
was.
no.
That's the new distribution method I'm going to start using. 8-track tapes.
Nice.
So there you go. Subscribers,
Yes, and
send us
maybe
your
our,
email addresses and we'll mail you 8-track tapes of the podcast.
I'm wondering now if our research department could find a cache out there that involves using an 8-track tape to find the cache. I'll bet there's one out there somewhere.
Or a cache made of 8-track tapes.
Oh, that, yeah.
Or a cache you need to put an 8-track tape into. It's an 8-track tape player.
Yeah.
And then once you put it in, the butler comes out. And he gives you a sandwich.
With the lobster? Is it a lobster sandwich?
It's a live lobster just between pieces of bread.
That doesn't sound all that tasty to me, actually. Rather
Oh, no,
crunchy.
no. I think I need a new butler.
I've opened ammo cans with enough water to hold a lobster.
Yeah.
No kidding. In there. All right. Well, you know what? I think that covers most of the
Lobster related.
lobster related stuff we're going to cover tonight. That's fun. So, I don't know. Was there anything else we wanted? It is a rock lobster. Thank you, Iham. Nice. All right. Is there anything else we wanted to cover off? Anything else we want to bug Marina about? No.
Chat
No.
room, chime in.
There you go.
Oh,
Do we have anything in there? I don't think so. I think
I haven't really been reading it, so
you're a
too far
millennial.
away.
You've been accused of being a millennial.
I don't think I am.
I think you're too young to be a
I am.
millennial.
I missed the cutoff. I don't agree with that. Millennials have a problem.
Really?
Yeah,
And your generation doesn't.
not like they do.
What kind of problems do millennials have?
They complain about the housing market a lot.
Everybody complains
That's
about the
fair
housing
enough.
market.
Yeah.
But I'm not really looking to move out
Yeah,
because
I've
of the
noticed.
housing market.
But not millennial. Okay.
No.
Your Generation Z?
Yeah, I am technically Generation Z.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Generation Z.
Well, now you do. The more you know.
So then what happens after Generation Z? We wrap around to A again?
I guess.
Oh,
Honestly, I don't really know.
what generation wears character onesies?
Generation Cool?
Your own personal.
I think in Excel it's AA after Z, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
I think
there
you're
you go.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Double A?
But I think the whole system was flawed when they came up with Generation X. They just painted
Yeah, they
themselves in a
they
corner.
start-
Why
they
not start
started
with
at
A?
the end, Yeah.
Generation
That's
after
nice.
Generation Z is unnamed, according to the chat room. Team Ben Cameron.
There you go. Maybe we'll just randomly start picking letters from the alphabet.
Oh,
Generation I.
Oh yeah, I'm part of Generation Q.
Generation Pi.
There you go.
oh, the pie you have after your lobster.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
That's the 3.14 generation.
Yeah.
they're very circular.
But that generation goes on forever.
Doesn't happen.
All right. Well, you know, I think we have now beaten the horse.
We beat the horse. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss tonight before we
Or we
We
let
appre-
Marina go?
before we let Marina go?
Or push me off.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to hang on for the after show?
What's the after show?
Oh, you want to wait for the after show?
For lobster?
It's like the show, but after.
But after.
I guarantee there is lobster.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Hidden.
Yeah.
That's the game of the after show, is find the lobster.
You have to find the butler.
Somewhere.
Once you find the butler, you find the lobster.
We're on the set. Somewhere in Jim's set.
It worked for
Lobster.
Batman.
It could be. Well, I know it was a little shorter show tonight, but our founder and main host is traveling slightly a little bit, and it's okay to have a little short show once in a while. People are coming up on holiday weekend next week for the U.S. folks, and we've all been busy, so we're just going to wrap up the normal part of the full show at this point and get ready for that after show thing that Mr. Land Monkey's talking about. But until we get to that point, let's suppose that Land Monkey, somebody wanted to write to you and say, what the heck happened on Thursday night? How would they contact you and ask you that?
Well, let me first answer with how you would contact me, and then I'll answer the question in the after show. The website is landmonkey.blogspot.ca, but the best way to follow us, we encourage everybody to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope. We Periscope from Vancouver Island this weekend as well.
Nice.
That would be at LandMonkeyGC. And of course, on YouTube, you can always check out our videos by searching Land Monkey, LANMONKEY on YouTube. Wits End, my friend. How about
Yes,
you?
sir. Just look for Wits End on Twitter, Facebook, geocaching, those typical social media platforms. Wits End is probably Twitter is probably the best place to find Wits End. And Chris
Of the Northwest.
of the Northwest and your hollow tinny microphone tonight, where can we find you?
Well, right here.
Okay. In the red room. Red
Yes,
room. Red room.
Look for Caching NW on any of those social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, even Google Plus if it's still around. Because, by next week it may not be.
You never know with Google. It's a
That's right.
possibility.
But head on over to cachingnw.com/hosts and you can read all our bios and find all those links. And some we didn't mention that we keep secret just to see if you're going to go read
That's right.
cachingnw.com/hosts. But most of all, we want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be a part of the show. Even when I don't sound good, you can call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask a question, or have the butler provide lobster any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Also, your support helps keep quality shows coming and not necessarily that sound like this. If you like this show, go ahead and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. This show is copyright under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2017 by Chris Umfenauer. And as we always say, stay tuned for the after show.
After show. All right. I guess we're in the after show now.
I guess we're in the after show. You are a friend of the crown, dilly dilly.
What? I don't get that. Gilly gilly. Dilly dilly. What?
You get a personalized tour of the dungeon then.
Oh, I don't want that tour. No, thank you.
IHAM did contribute a FATAS there. Wants to know what Buckland is wearing on his head. I think that was IHAM, correct?
Yeah. So at our Gajef event for
Oh, that's Buckland. I couldn't figure that
This is
out.
National Film Festival.
at the the Giant Film Festival, where we went with all the other 7 foot tall plus people. One of my good friends and caching buddies, and listener of the show, Mr. GeoNapros, gave us this monkey toque with it's built in. This is your kind of thing. You love stuff like this.
I don't know about that. Like, I feel like that would just get annoying having something hang there for long enough.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't always have your hands in it.
Well, no, you wouldn't. But anyways, it was a gift from Mr. GeoNapros, and I found that if I tried to wear it while I podcasted, I could not also wear my headphones. So it's instead unbuckling.
Okay.
So there you go.
Are you calling that millennial headgear?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it had been some sort of raptor or bird of prey, it might have been a millennial falcon.
Oh, it could have been.
I've just made my daughter sad.
Just now?
Apparently that's all it took.
It's been about a half an hour of that. About 34.
Nice.
Nice on ice.
Nice on ice.
Nobody in the chat, though, contributed which episode Marina's been on before.
Yeah. So
did we stump even our research department?
Yeah, I haven't seen any feedback from the research department. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what how you guessed it on.
It's been too long. It's been way too long.
But you remember what it was.
Yeah, but like nobody else is gonna remember that.
I do. Oh, Doramore contributed a guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
Doramore got it first.
Right.
Yay.
There, then somebody did remember.
Yeah.
How could we forget you?
Oh, yeah. Being recognized in public. How embarrassing.
There was no bat onesie involved that time though, so you're
We
you're
don't
safe.
know. There was no video on that episode.
That's right.
What a shame.
Could have been. All right. Team Finn asked, #Fatas, how about planning geocaching during your vacation? High favorite points, multis, mysteries, what? So I think the question is, how do you?
Yeah, what do you look for when you're on vacation? How do you plan to vacation? I look for high favorite points, personally.
I start with that. But, yeah. But sometimes that can be a bit of, maybe that's not exactly what you want. So
yeah, it's not foolproof, but it's a good place to start.
It is. It's definitely a good place to start. I look for where I goes because I really like finding them. They're fairly rare around here. So
yes, those are awesome.
And I know it's going to be shocking, but I also look for earth caches.
Really?
Mind blown. I know, right?
You should tell us about earth caches sometime.
Okay, maybe a different episode.
Why do you wait to the last minute to spring things like this on us?
Well, it makes the after show special.
Okay.
Share that.
Now, if you're on some sort of challenge kick, if you're trying to complete any of the Fizzy or the Jasmer challenge, obviously those are going to be big ones that you're looking for.
Yeah. And BC Rock Crawler says, I look for the oldest cache in the area, which could help with one of those challenge charges you're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And most of the times, the oldest caches tend to be some of the higher favorite point ones because, they pick the good spots first.
Yeah, for sure. On that topic, another thing I look for are virtuals because, again, virtuals and webcams. They're
webcams. I like webcams.
Well, I guess virtuals technically aren't grandfathered anymore, are they? Now that there's limited releases of new...
They're still very unique.
They are, but you can't call them... Sorry, what did you call them?
Stepfather.
They're part of the Gen X. They're Gen X.
Okay. Thanks.
I'd give some Gen Z insight. I have lots of insight from all my years of experience.
Yeah. It's a pleasure.
It always is.
All right. Dora Moore says, just recently we discovered an intercache that was a cemetery tour. Very cool. That would be neat.
That'd be fun.
Intercache is like a Where I Go. It's just you have to do it online as opposed to doing it offline like you do with a Where I Go.
And intercaches can be very complicated or very simple. You can have a multi-step with items, or you could just go to a location and get a final. So intercache is really quite interesting.
I'm gonna have to look for one of those. I don't think I found one of those.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility with those for sure. Green Words had added another thing to look for is the highest, like Haleakala.
Mm-hmm.
You're in, I think that's on Maui, right? Haleakala.
I think so.
But we've done that on our recent road trip. In fact, a lot of these things we're talking about, we did for targeting caches on our, well, not our most recent road trip, our big summer road trip we did to Utah, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, Washington, Oregon. Anyways,
Start naming all
This Arkansas, New Mexico,
all
North
the
Carolina,
places,
South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota.
all the things. Yeah. So
Alabama and Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, and Connecticut, and more, Delaware, and Florida, Georgia, then Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, and Idaho, and 30 more to go. I'm not going to go the rest. So
I'm really glad it's Canada and I don't have to learn all that.
That song came from one of Land Monkey's road trips.
yeah,
there you go. So yeah. So on that note, one of the things that we have done is exactly what people are talking about. We looked for highest favorite points, but we had sort of specific missions. Obviously, we were trying to fill our Jasmer. We had just 2 or 3 caches left to do that. We were also looking to get our highest elevation cache. So we needed to find one in which state was that? That was Utah. That was in Utah. We got that. And what else did we do? Oh, we were working on a challenge. It was an interesting challenge that was find caches with welcome to in the name.
oh, okay.
As we headed into different towns and cities, we would look and see, is there a welcome to cache? And so
Yeah.
we're able to complete that challenge. All kinds of different ideas you guys have had of great ways of doing things like that.
Cool. Somebody else asked about night caches in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Any cache is a night cache in the Pacific Northwest if you do it
This
right.
time of year.
Or this time of year, yeah. There's a lot of night this time of year.
Yeah, that was Mr. Geo Now Pros. Had asked that. Definitely, there's some great night caches around, and this is the perfect time of year to do them if you can.
Yeah.
Either if you get a break in the rain or if you don't mind caching out in the rain and the dark. But this is definitely a great time of the year to do night caches.
Yeah, and we often say it, but be prepared because you could be going on any sort of hike here in the Northwest, and night sets quickly. So that cache that you didn't expect to be a night cache could very well suddenly pop out to be one, and you're not prepared for it. So be careful.
There you go. Good advice.
And trails at night can be circular, so don't take off after your mom and dad and not come back.
Do you remember that story?
What?
No. Were you with us? You were definitely on the trip. That was a few years ago when Grandma and Grandpa were still in Parksville. We went out night caching, and I'm sure you were with us.
I remember the bear, but I don't remember that.
Okay, yeah, the bear was a different night caching story. She was definitely there for that. That was in Manning Park. That was a big
Dormore
bear.
wrestled the bear.
Well, we got its head, so
There you go.
That was a big bear. Iham said in the chat, it looked like there were some fun caches on the Trans-Canada Trail from the pictures. He's referring, I believe, to some of the Instagram photos, and which of course would also be Twitter photos that I posted of some really creative cache containers we found last weekend outside of a town called Ladysmith, just south of Nanaimo, while we were killing time waiting for the ferry.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I think he also asked, was there a welcome to cache in Cuba?
I don't remember. That trip would have been before we had started this particular challenge.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that we hadn't, you can use previously found caches.
Let's do a caching and Northwest road trip and find out.
Yeah. All right. Very funny. Okay. So, yeah. Team Finn says dodging rain, wind, and falling trees for night caches. Yeah, that would be this time of the year.
It can be dangerous to be out there at night right now.
Yeah, like Chris said, you want to be careful, but it's a great time if you're careful and you know what you're doing and you take the reasonable precautions.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a lot of fun.
If you're not careful, it can be a great glow.
Yeah.
As long as you get to write it. Yeah.
You have time in your hospital room.
Yeah. So Marina asked, "What's a glow?" So what do you think a glow is?
We're doing this. Did you already ask me this? I don't know. I forgot.
The first letter stands for geocaching. Does that help?
I never would have figured that out. Geocaching lovers
Of the world.
are wonderful. I was thinking waterfalls, but
That could make a good glow over waterfalls.
it's like a geocaching themed marriage on Niagara Falls.
Nice.
I believe that's what that is.
It's geocaching log of the week. So what we do is we get people to send us in a interesting, when people get really, really boring and they sit on their couch with their computer and they type for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stories they type, we get them to send them in. And then we read them on the show. It's a thing. Because it encourages people to write great stories instead of just putting TFTC.
I think you should start sharing the not great ones and make people appreciate the good ones.
We're going to force you to listen to the
Today's
crappy
glow
ones.
this is an alright cache. That's all it is. Could have been better. Doesn't quite get a favorite point. Almost there.
You could assign half favorite points.
And then we'll really start to appreciate the nice ones that you guys read.
Okay. So just do a stretch
Yeah,
of really
it's-
crappy logs.
It's comparison.
So that would be the CLO, the crappy log of the week.
Close log of the week. So close.
The LT slow, the less than stellar log of the week.
Nice. All right. Well, what do you think? Have you had enough? Are you done?
Are you trying to get me to leave?
No, but when we kind of run out of steam a little bit in the after show, we usually wrap it up.
About time to wrap it up, probably. And June Afros does say, bring Marina again. Great show. So
I was going to ask Marina, would you be willing to come on again?
Probably, if I had nothing else to do.
Oh, there you go. A glowing recommendation for the podcast.
could you find a different animal onesie to wear?
I only have the one. It'll just be a recurring thing, or you'll just be flying in the background. You'll be like, "Oh, Jay, I think you got bats in your house."
That's in the belfry, anyways.
There's something.
All right. Well, I think that's that. I think we're done. I think we're good.
Well, folks, again, as we say every week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.